fam. This is a very interesting episode because it's just a chat between boys. This is a conversation with me and Emmett Naughton, who has lived an incredible life. He has done every job. He's been a line cook. He's been a janitor. He's worked at, ER facilities. And all the while, he taught himself how to code. He went through boot camps and now is a bona fide software engineer. And, this is someone who's incredibly intelligent, who has worked really hard, takes care of his family beautifully. He's got a lovely family and still makes the time to create content and put himself out there and support both the e-commerce community, but also the software engineering community. This is not your traditional Replo podcast in the sense of you're going to see a lot of rah-rah stuff. You're going to get a ton of alpha here. But this is an opportunity for you to experience, I think, two people who are just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out in this world. Emmett's trying to figure it out. He's doing a great job. And if you want a bit of realness and you want to get a step away from the fluff and the sparkle, the razzle-dazzle that typically comes from this industry and this the shiny object syndrome that is the entirety of digital marketing, you're going to enjoy the show. And if you're not interested in that, don't worry, we'll catch you on the next one. But I appreciate you watching nonetheless, and I think you're gonna like the realness of it. It's a different pace, and I enjoyed recording it. All right, so you were talking about tweeting at in the middle of the day, or I guess like the end of your day.
Well,
or people getting off of work. Other people's days. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was working second shift, and I did that for years. So 3 p.m. to 11:30, or later, depending if overtime or whatnot. But I was getting a lot of engagement on Twitter from tweeting at like 8 or 9 p.m. And it was like clips of podcasts I was listening to. So like in an Overcast or Player FM, they have like share at timestamp.
Yeah.
Right, and YouTube has it as well. And it's just like I would be listening, really powerful piece, clip it, post that tweet, tag the guest and the podcast.
Dude.
And
it's like Twitter growth 101. I think we've all done this, and it still works to this day.
But it's how I got in touch with like my second role in tech. I got because I tweeted about their podcast, right? It was like they saw that I was available for work, and they were like, "Hey, we're doing this thing. You want in?" And it was like, "Yeah."
What role was it?
It was Loro. It was
okay.
It was Dave Rupert who does Shop Talk Show.
Oh, nice.
Which is a podcast about front end web development, and that was one of the first podcasts I started listening to when I was learning web development in 2017-ish, right? And I worked with him in 2022.
That's so
just
cool.
Just by sharing and putting yourself out there. It's absolutely bonkers that works. Like
it is. I had this exact. I think you and I talked about this on Twitter, but I had this exact same experience this past week where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna flood the feed with a bunch of just any thought that comes to mind, and I'm going to like dial back the fear that I have of looking
the
a
filter.
certain way. Yeah, I actually, part of it is a buddy of mine gave me this book, Courage to be Disliked, and the part like reading something like that, and then this is way more than just like what the title suggests, but reading something like that and then like starting to do this, and then like the algorithm immediately rewards you, or like people start to like engage. The Hormels video from the other night, like that's a great example of like, dude, I hear you. It's so, I know it to be true, and yet I always fear putting the content out or making the content. And then once I do, I'm like, ah, man, I wish I had done this sooner. Every time,
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah, well, that's it's so interesting because there's do you know Matt Ragland? He does Hey Creator.
Name sounds familiar. I don't think I know him personally.
Anyway, he did a thing called Creator 30. It was like a challenge thing, and basically it was like post 30 days straight of content. It can be anything: video, podcasts, tweet.
Yeah.
I took it and I wrote on my blog for 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days straight. That was through. It was end of January, then most of February, and that was like through sick kids. We were sick. We had the flu. Like, it's just. But it was like just
you and I both were messaging about how bad things were.
Yeah,
it was tough.
But again, it's that like, just take 20 minutes and write something out and post it. Like, and I think that's. I posted about it is like I hate all of the polished stuff that you see on. Like, it's like, oh, you hired somebody to write your tweets that are polished, and it's just like. But then when I get on a call with you and you're totally different, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's...
Oh, yeah. It's weird. We've hired people to write blog posts that are also ghostwriters for some of these people, and it's so jarring because like you'll see the tab open like whenever you screen share them with them, and it's like tweets for, and then it's like some big name. I'm like, dog, that's you? It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I mean, and I think I view posting on the internet like whose line is it anyway?
Yes. Oh,
it's
dude,
like,
yeah.
it's the internet's made up and the points don't matter.
The points don't matter. I love that.
But like I've gotten all of my connections and opportunities just by being like 100% me. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something that I struggle with. We talked about this the other day. Just like I've done stuff that feels so just like I just did the thing. Like it's like why do I need to be like boastful about it?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, one, people eat that stuff up. Mm-hmm. Right? They love hearing wins and whatnot. But it's also like I don't know. I just did the thing because like. What else was I gonna do in? Yeah. Like, I don't know. And it's something that I will always struggle with because it's like, and I think this is why I haven't launched really anything. Is because it's like, one, it's not that I don't feel like I couldn't do it. It's that like. Once the thing's out there, there's no really like going back. Like you let the sauce out of the jar, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like
you can't scoop it back in.
No, you cannot. No matter how much toothpaste you try to cram back in the tube. But it's like, I don't know. It's that thing of you're putting stuff out into the world, especially physical product stuff, is like there's not like, oh, you can take the website down, right? It's like, no, that thing you made is in somebody's house. Like that's sort of a big deal. Like,
can you define anything? So you said, this is why I haven't launched anything. Can you tell me what anything means in your mind?
Well, like,
I don't disagree. I disagree with that statement generally before your definition comes out, because I'm like, well, I know you're shipping features left and right for no, and doing you're putting out the content. So I'm kind of curious to know what you define anything as.
Yeah, I think it's more of like, it's like, I don't know, like physical product thing, right? It's like I haven't made, or I haven't pursued anything where it's like, well, I guess that's incorrect, because I've like put out music and that lives out on the internet, and there's somebody that has cassette tapes with my music on it somewhere. So,
Is it legit cassette tapes?
yes, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. How does one get a hold of these cassette tapes? I think my car does not have a cassette player.
Yeah.
I can find
have
one
this?
though. I think my
Yeah.
parents have one.
Yeah. No, it's funny because, like, I guess, like, I've done I made cassette tapes, CDs, T-shirts, playing music before life happened. Right? It's like high school, college, booking shows, booking events, running events, and like, I don't know. It's one of the. It's like that feels different than like software or like ecom, even though it's the same. Like bands are just e-commerce
Yeah.
brands, right? It's like,
They're just brands, right? E-commerce
Yeah.
is just a channel, right?
yeah. A band is just a marketing channel for your
Yeah.
products.
Or I would maybe say like the CD as a channel, the cassette as a channel, streaming is a channel, live music is a channel, right? And then
Like
it
your
still
T-shirts,
rolls in the-
your
yeah.
your band, you're an apparel company, right? It's like, you think of like Warped Tour. It's like all those,
Yeah,
all
exactly.
the people. You're just slugging T-shirts, man. You're just slinging T-shirts, and but yeah, I don't think I never made money. Like I didn't break even on any of the music stuff. It's like I was happy to get a pizza at the end of the night, right?
Yeah.
It's like sweet, dinner was covered. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think like the physical product stuff is like, I don't know. Think it like I've thought about doing like mugs for the Coder Dads community. A good mug is goes a long way.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel like it's just also one of those things. Is like, once it's out there, then you have to maintain it, and that's feels
Sure.
like a lot of work. But
To some degree. It's not too much, right? Like I see. Let's actually unpack that. Like, what do you think you would have to maintain? Like you made mugs.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, all of it could be like print on demand.
It could be. Yeah.
You just fully offshore all of it.
You could just hire someone like Gary Darna. I don't know if you know Gary. He does it all for you, right?
He made the.
There you go. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So you just have him because he does fulfillment too. So you just basically say, "Hey, I'm gonna, purchase this amount of stuff," and then he does everything from there.
I'm gonna make
or
200 mugs and
yeah. Or you do even less, right? Like you do a pre-sale, you commit the amount that you need, you get those, you ship those, and then you have the email list. Maybe you keep that maintained or something, but you don't launch anything unless you want to. And so it's not so much maintenance.
so this tied into something I thought about last year on my blog called the leap year mug.
Okay.
So it's this idea that you would sign up for this list. You'd sign up for my email list.
Yeah.
And then as 4 years from leap day, right?
Yeah.
February 29th, 2028. If you joined this email list, you would get a link on the 29th to buy a mug.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
so it's 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So most of the time, if I charged $30, you would forget that you bought a mug.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then in 4 years, you get a mug that shows up on the 29th of February.
Right.
And you're like, what did I buy? Like, what did,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and it would just
Yeah.
be, and one, I think that was it was an idea that just like to get off the instant gratification of the internet, right? It's like, buy this thing and then like get weekly updates of like, you know, oh, your mug is still clay somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
not ready to be, you know,
It's still in
do
the
a
ground.
whole-
It hasn't even harvested yet.
right, yeah, like you don't even have it, like it is not a mug yet, right?
That's so cool. That's it's a time capsule in a way, right? Like it's like it's a time capsule like product. You can kind of attach a lot of memories and significance to who you are, what you were back when you bought it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what was something you bought 4 years ago? I couldn't tell you. Like, you know, looking at,
Yeah.
you know, it's do you have anything that's 4 years old in your office?
I do.
Right?
Actually, yeah. It's this bar of soap. This was a bar of soap. It's Mama Mentality. This was actually, it's 5 years old now. This was made the day after Kobe passed away. And one of the franchisees of Buff City Soap knew that I was like and I just started working there, so it's probably like a few weeks in. But I made in my introduction post, I made a big, like, to all the franchisees, I said, I love Kobe Bryant. And they sent me a whole, like, loaf of soap, it's like 15 bars. So I was able to keep one of those. So that's the only thing in this room. I think this book I got afterwards, this is the very first dollar I ever made in business, or like selling a business. It's my pet subscription box company. It's the boxy, kind of see, it's a cutout of our shipping box. And then the dollar is the ceremonial dollar that we sold our business to the University of Arkansas for, that all of us signed. And I kept the dollar and I have a frame. But outside of that, maybe the Xbox. I have an Xbox 360 right here.
Yeah, well, it's funny because so, like, being that I took, you know, it took me 5 years from starting to learn to code from Free Code Camp, to getting my first role at Gavallo with Kelly Vaughn. Right, and that's even a crazier story because I
forgot that you worked. I didn't realize you worked directly with Kelly.
She was my boss. Yeah.
That's so cool. I've followed her for years. She's such a nice person.
Yeah, and it was like, it's funny because I almost said no.
Really?
Because I got, I went through a process with a very large e-com platform for a developer relations role. It was like dev community. It's like stuff I was doing with Coder Dads. After 8-hour-long Zoom meetings, I got a call at 6 p.m. on a Friday after the last round of interviews, saying that I didn't have enough experience for the role.
Wow.
And this was like just before Thanksgiving 2021. And 2 weeks later, I'm still like struggling, like what the heck am I gonna do? Still working in the emergency room, doing patient intake and talking to sick COVID patients and getting all their information, and then coming home and coding and networking after hours. And Kelly reached out. She's like, "Hey, we're doing this thing. We want to interview you." And I wrote out like a 5-paragraph essay about like, no, not right now. Like, I'm dealing with some stuff, just dealing with burnout and rejection and whatever. And then, for whatever reason, that draft in a Twitter DM did not save or sync across devices.
Yep.
So I opened up Twitter like 2 days later and just replied, sure, to Kelly. And interviewed and got the role, and then started January 2022. So they moved really fast, which was great. So,
That's incredible, man. Ah, man, the serendipity of technology breaking and allowing you to like say yes to that. That's so funny though.
like, yeah, I wrote huge, on my phone,
Yeah. Yep.
super upset, and um, but yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's like to get through all of those interviews and like super super in-depth challenging interviews to be told that you don't have enough experience. I'm like, why
Yeah.
didn't you?
Say that at the start, you know.
Yeah, but and I get hiring is hard, right? It's like
Yeah.
I've never had to hire anybody, so it's like I don't know. But like I think once you hit that scale of like, you're managing 1,000 employees, 1,000+ employees, like I can't even imagine that for like.
Yeah. It does start becoming a bit number gamey at that point, which is not great. Um, the thought that you sparked in that conversation just now is, I feel like a lot of hiring managers are like they're so caught up in their own process and work and like expectations and trying to get the person in and like their own thing that they've sometimes failed to realize. This is a mistake I've personally made. Failed to realize that, hey, there's another human being on the other side of the rejection, and make sure to not say stuff that's going to start them on their villain arc. And
Right.
maybe what they said to you could have, you had 5 paragraphs worth of stuff like that could have sparked the villain arc. That could have changed the trajectory in a lot of different ways. I'm glad it did it. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. But
Well,
I
it's
think,
that. It's also like once you're dealing with like recruiters, right? Forcing that recruiter to make that tough phone call
yeah,
totally removes the hiring manager from that.
yeah,
They're like, "Oh,
yeah,
go reject them," and it's like, I don't know. It's like we're people on the other end of that phone line or screen,
yeah,
and that's one of my concerns about AI too. Is like,
hmm,
will it just become machines talking to each other?
yeah,
And it's like, what happens when a mistake happens,
hmm,
right? It's like there's going to be this point in AI where a business loses $1 billion because of an AI.
yeah.
Who do you blame for that?
Oh
Like,
yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be much more intense than just like the money loss. I think it's going to be, people are going to get hurt in some way. Like AI is going to have control over some system that is going to result in a human life being altered in some material way. And yeah, where does the liability stand? I think there's a lot of like legislation that just hasn't been constructed for this. And
well, and it also
and
goes
more.
down to like being a software engineer, right? Is like
Hmm.
my code is going to go on a what, right?
Yeah,
It's like it's going to be on
yeah,
a device that you think of like warehouse technology, right? You're going to have
sure.
automated forklifts? Absolutely not.
Hmm.
Like, like I see there's a point where that is needed, but it's that getting there point, right? It's that like when the tech's not quite there and you have somebody who's just like, "Oh, I'm going to jump in and get this thing."
Hmm.
Or like they don't follow the process and then your autonomous forklift comes
Yeah.
flying through the warehouse. Like that's
Yeah, I mean, I guess like an autonomous forklift would make sense if there were only other autonomous forklifts in the vicinity. But if like the moment that you have like the interaction, and I think this is the same with like self-driving too. Um, as someone who has been in Waymos, and I love Waymos, I think they're fantastic. But it's still
Yeah.
very jarring to think like you have all of these people that are essentially like, the human element is truly random, even in spaces where you think that's like constrained, and this system is designed to not do that or not be random. And
Right.
it's always going to be reactionary, or most of the time it's going to be reactionary. And I think, yeah, it's like that. It's the highest degree of risk is in the space where both coexist. If it's just
Yeah.
humans,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
you have like
It's
all human
fine.
risk, which is fine. We're used to that. And then if it's just robots, actually the risk goes down significantly, obviously. But again, the
Well,
overall risk of systems.
one of the things I'm curious about is with self-driving cars, will these cars follow the speed limit?
Yeah. Do they need to?
Well, but here's the thing. It's the law.
Right.
So the speed limit, 35.
Sure.
It like autonomous car doing 40, who's at fault?
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
this is like the legal things, but it's also like if every car was doing 30 like the system was designed to do, if every car was mandated to follow the speed limit for whatever section they're in, traffic would be smoother.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they've done studies for like traffic lights. Traffic light timing is set up based on the speed limit of where you are. So it's like if everybody goes the speed limit to the next light, you will hit that light.
Yep.
But you have people that speed or don't go quite fast enough, and then you have a traffic jam. And also at that point, like if every car is doing the speed limit, why don't we just invest in trains? Like
Yeah, man. Oh,
it's
yeah. My buddy Blake, he lives in Austin, and he is like the biggest proponent of like high speed trains. I love high speed trains. I think we should get it. Texas is doing some sort of legislative review right now for it. I think we'd be all better as a country if we had high speed trains.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
think
I agree.
I think the biggest issue is we're too big.
Yeah,
Because you're from Missouri. Like
mm-hmm.
there are places in Missouri that have to maintain these high speed rails.
Yeah,
Like I don't know, man. Like, and this comes back to the maintenance thing, right? Is like putting things out into the world has a maintenance cost, and but like I think like in the Northeast with all the weather that we get, it's like you would have to find a system to make sure that the high speed rail is safe in those bad conditions.
yep.
It's like
I watched Snowpiercer for the first time like a month or two ago. Have you seen it? Do you know? Are you familiar with
I have not.
It's basically this
Not
like
have
this
time for
eternal. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's yeah. You and I have very very different set of responsibilities. The sense of my children is this guy. He's the biggest troublemaker here. So,
Yeah.
but the concept of snow or the premise of Snowpiercer is the world has like gone into like nuclear winter or something. Essentially, like it's like super cold, and there's only one set where one place where humanity can live, and it's this like train, and it has every like caste, every like social strata or like financial strata represented. From the back as like the poorest of the people, and then the front of the train is like the guy, the great conductor or whatever. And it's just fascinating to see like, okay, they've constructed a train that can punch through ice caps and stuff. But like maybe you don't get high speed rail in the cold spots. You just get the 55 mile an hour BSNF type of stuff that you get already, right? Because there are trains in those places. They just go significantly slower.
Yeah, and I know Canada's trying to do high-speed rail from Toronto to Quebec City,
Oh, nice.
which would be huge because, like, Toronto to Montreal is like a 5 or 6 hour drive, right? And it's like if you could get that down to say half with a high-speed rail, like huge. And because right now there's people like that fly Toronto to like 6 hours is almost that like too close to fly, too far to drive.
Yeah, yeah. That's the distance to Missouri. We don't have an airport that would be supporting us, but like Memphis is a great example. Um, my fiance Amber, her family's from Memphis. It's like 6.5, 7 hours. Most of the time, we just get in the car. I'd rather just make that drive instead of spending all of that time in the airport, doing it. We're not flying
Spending
so,
3 or 4 hours in the airport to
yeah.
get and
Yeah, I'm not really saving too much time in the grand scheme of things. It's more so just like the wear on my body, but then you look at the cost of those flights too, and it's like, do I really want to pay $300 a ticket for for something I can do for $300 is all the gas that I will need. Yeah, it's all the gas that I will need for the entire trip, like getting there, coming back, and driving around for a week, like.
driving around for a week, and like probably food too, right?
Yeah. Like, yeah, you don't. It's not like you're sort of spending too much money when you go to those types of places, unless you go to Rendezvous. I don't know if you've been to Rendezvous in Memphis, but those are some of the best ribs I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
You might spend some money there.
yeah, but that's it's an experience, right? You're paying for experience.
That's correct. That is correct.
So, yeah, man, it's I was trying to remember where we first got introduced. I believe it's Twitter.
Yeah.
I also think it was do you remember the app Space?
Yeah. Like when we were just jamming vocally,
Audio
only.
Audio only. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at. Man, that was my. I wasn't in the current spot. I think we were getting ready to move.
Mm-hmm.
We were jamming. I was cleaning out the old garage, the old place.
You were one of those people. I feel like we've known each other through Twitter
Like
for a very long time.
2018.
Yeah, and that would be right when I was coming up, and like I just kind of like started using Twitter for professional stuff to begin with. I was working under John Max Bowling. Not just. Oh, I mean, I don't think I think it was like I got Twitter in like 2012 or whatever, and then
You signed up, and then it was like a blank account.
Ghostland.
Yeah.
And then I got back on. John Max Bowling got me to start posting and stuff. I was like a really big like David Herman stan, the media buyer out in LA. He was in Huntington Beach, I believe. And then like in 2020, I got the job at Buff. That was like the inflection point for me. It was like, okay, I was like working at this like e-com startup in Arkansas, which e-com startup Arkansas, not involved in Walmart at all. That's kind of like many oxymorons.
But that's an interesting thing. So where I'm in Plattsburgh, New York, we used to have an Air Force base here.
Okay.
So the Air Force base left.
Oh, interesting.
So we have all of this infrastructure to support the Air Force here. It's all like vacant. So it's like you have like these industrial warehouses that are just empty.
Yeah.
It's like.
And runways.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have an airport, but basically we had an airport come in, and the airport, the Air Force Base airport can land the space shuttle.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of the few. It's like one of the few landing strips in the country.
Has that ever happened? Like, have they ever had to do that there?
I don't think so. But yeah, it's like fun history piece.
I Oh man, I wish I had. There's somewhere in this room, probably in that closet, there is a piece of art that there's like a, and this is one of the, I guess like the few reasons why like I love ecom so much. But there was a customer who lived on an Air Force base, and shipping to Air Force bases or any sort of military base around the world or even domestically, it's actually pretty difficult sometimes. It's like a whole separate set of postal service shenanigans. And this customer she'd been buying, she's from
like
Memphis.
not USPS or whatever.
It's like, well, it's like an ABO post. It's like airbase, I don't know, something like that. But basically, it's still through the postal service, but you have to like, there are additional layers of security and like sometimes customs related things too, depending on where it was based.
Shipping a box into a military base, yeah, probably
Yeah.
frowned upon.
But I started this correspondence with the customer. So like the first couple months, I was doing all the customer service myself, and happened to be friends with this lady who was buying for her and her husband, who was in the Air Force, and she ended up drawing a picture of a C-130, like a charcoal drawing on a piece of paper, and shipped it to me to my office once as like a thank you, because I told her just like in passing that I really love planes and I really thought that was fascinating. It was just so cool. But then she was the reason why, that one customer was the reason why I spent probably a month and a half, maybe 2 months, trying to figure out how we could ship soap to any Air Force, any military base around the world. And it cost, like, we lost money on every single one of those orders. But I'm glad we were able to do it at all. I think it was a special thing, but it was just because of that one person. So I'm always fascinated to hear about like Air Force bases and things like that. I'm willing to bet, based on you being up there, and you mentioned before, I think we started recording, about how a lot of the jobs around that area were like defense contractors, like Lockheed and stuff. I have a buddy who lives up in where in New York? He's in that region, and I'm blanking on the name.
Syracuse.
Yeah, he's in Syracuse. Yeah,
Yeah, Syracuse is where Lockheed Martin, they have a big campus there. So
he does radio stuff for them in Syracuse, and I'll have to imagine that Lockheed's probably got a lot of their Skunk Works projects landing near you, or have in the past at some point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting because also Syracuse is like 4 hours from me.
Okay.
So it's but yeah, it's funny. It's but yeah, the to wrap this back up to the whole getting into tech and
Yeah.
e-commerce is a lot of the jobs here. It's either you're at the hospital, or for men, it's the maximum security prison. That is.
Oh wow.
Like those are like the jobs. It's either you're
Yeah.
retail, you're either in retail, you're either at the hospital, you're at the college, or you're a corrections officer at the prison. If you have time, you should probably do. There's a mini series about the jailbreak that happened in 2015 here.
Oh my gosh, the Plattsburgh.
Escape from Dannemora. Let's send you a link.
Oh my goodness. And they turned it into a TV show.
Of course. Why wouldn't you turn it into a TV show? Who was it directed by? Ben
Patricia
Stiller
Arquette.
was the director.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So this is what he was doing before he did Severance, essentially. He went from this to Severance is what happened, based on the timeline. And it's got like Patricia Arquette, Benicio del Toro, Paul Dano. That's crazy. Gene Palmer. Wow.
Yeah, so I hadn't started working at the hospital yet when this happened. Yeah, I was working at the chandelier factory.
That's an amazing factory to work at. What was that like?
So that was it was Swarovski lighting.
Uh-huh.
So Swarovski, the fancy
Yeah,
crystals.
the crystals. Yeah.
Yeah. So we built. I did the James Bond movie, Car Through the Chandelier. That was made
Which
up here.
really? What? Which one was that?
Which the movie where
James
he
Bond.
drives a car through a chandelier. I think that's about my James Bond knowledge. I know that the chandelier was Swarovski. Um, so, but like we did all the live action Cinderella. All the chandeliers
Wow.
were made up here. Yeah, it's funny because I had some interviews when people saw that I worked at Swarovski. They were like, "You worked on the ecom at Swarovski?" I was like, "No, no, 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 no." Like, no, I made sure that the chandelier was like, you know, the right color and the right finish on giant metallic tanks and industrial ovens and
That's
powder
this
coating.
is gonna be so
Yeah.
cringe, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What did that experience genuinely teach you about B2B SaaS?
Oh man. Working at a chandelier factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. B2B SaaS sales. I think it.
The real question is what transfers over, right? Is like, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
it's the eye to detail, right?
yeah.
It is the we had scenarios where it was like we had a color that a customer wanted, right? All the chandeliers were made to order.
Okay.
So you would place your order, ship, PO would come to the factory. All the parts for that chandelier would get made up. Then it would go, okay, you want the gold with the like dark inlay trim. Okay, I would make all those chandelier parts for that chandelier that color.
Oh wow.
And we would have people that would have workers that would just come in and just do their job and go home.
Yeah.
But it's like you had a giant gold streak run on the thing, do it over. Like I would not want that in my house
Right.
or wherever or the hotel or wherever this was going, knowing that that was there, right?
These
It's
are
like
presumably, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, millions of dollars.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, like we're talking like $1 million custom orders for
wow.
like a hotel, right? And it's like
Goodness, yeah.
if you have a 30-room hotel, each one of those has a bathroom. There's 2 light fixtures in that bathroom that are Swarovski or whatever. Like you want all of those to look as close to perfect as possible.
Yeah.
And you would have people that would come in and be like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's whatever." It's like, man, or this process is taking 2 shifts to complete. It gets started 6 a.m. in the morning and doesn't get finished till midnight. Let's try to figure out a better way to improve that process. Because
I've been around the
these
block
people,
enough to know that
yeah,
that people that do what you just described, it's like that, like the 11th level or like the whatever, the taking it to the nth level, one step further, one step beyond, 2 steps beyond what the average person would do. I know enough to know that like that's not. Rarely does that just happen. You don't just kind of like overnight become that. Maybe you did. Like,
well,
have you always been like that?
not really, but working in restaurants as like a line cook too is like it's like no that that burger you sent out to that family because you're tired and are hungover, like it looked like crap, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
it's it all comes back to like the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like, which like it sounds so like cliche to say because that's what everybody's like it's the new hotness. It's like you care about the customer experience, and
It's always been that. Yeah, it's always been that. Everyone's
but it's
always
like,
preached it, right? But no one actually does it.
but right, it's it's like complaining that your Big Mac doesn't look like the picture, right? It's like,
Yeah.
well, because that's one, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, but it's also like the people that cared that it went out looking like it does in the picture, they don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
They got, I think a lot of that comes down to that will either get beaten out of you, the eye to detail, because you don't get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, that costs money
Yeah.
to be perfect. And it's like, but it's the like it's that like, because you'd have to put like your tag, right? You'd have to sign off like I made this. Like you had to put your stamp of approval on it, and like if it looked like junk because somebody else did a poor job, like no, I'm calling it out. Like
Yeah.
redo it. Like
Yeah.
it's not that hard.
Yeah. It really isn't. But I think people like you are a rare breed, and I think it's you're quite literally built different. It's really hard to come
That's
by.
my frustrating thing I see the most is people coming in hot into support channels, swearing and cursing, and I'm like, dude, you sent this from your couch.
Yeah.
Like, just think about that for a second. Like, when you have a bad experience, think about where you are. Don't like. It's I don't know. Like, you sent an email to a software tool, and you are mad about an experience, but you get to work from wherever you want. Like, I have this thing is like swearing at somebody is for life or death situations.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. At somebody for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, at another human being, right? Is like, yeah, you have, yeah. If you are in an emergency room and you're having the worst day of your life, absolutely. like, go off, go like have that meltdown, and it will make everybody else like, But like, swearing in an email because you're, you know, you
Yeah.
didn't set up a tool right. Like, man, like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's something that I get so annoyed with too. Because like with Replo, a lot of times what'll happen is people will hit me up on like they'll text me or they'll email me or they'll hit me on the DMs and say, "Yo, I need help with something." And my first question to them always is, "Have you checked with support yet?" And 9 times out
it's
of 10,
never
they haven't done
no,
that. They
no.
haven't done that. So
They go, oh,
they come
I know Sanjay. He'll be fine. He'll
yeah.
do this for me. And it's
And I'm
like,
like, I can't do that for everybody, to a certain degree. And also, my support team is actually much more qualified to handle 99% of problems. Um, they're just better.
it's
They
so,
just, and
yeah.
it's, I had to have this like conversation with a good friend of mine, because he and his business partner have been like kind of hitting me up to do stuff, and they've been like really kind of like it. Initially, it was like innocuous. It was like, cool, I'll help you, and then it was like, oh, your support team kind of sucks, and I'm like, I don't know about all that. Like, let's take a step back,
Whoa,
and then I go check
yeah.
with the support team, and they're like, yo, this guy's like incredibly abusive. So now I have to go back and have this like conversation with these people about like, yo, you can't talk to my people like that. It's not rocket science. And it makes me so upset whenever people, and
But
this,
like,
maybe it's because I'm from the Midwest, but anyway, sorry.
but no, it comes down to the same thing though. Like,
Yeah,
you want a great way to ruin your brand
yeah,
and like your professional prowess. Even like, you see people being snarky on Twitter, and I'm like, that's a great way to get people to not
sure,
work with you.
yeah,
You're like, oh, that
yep,
person said this to so and so. No, I'm out. Like,
yeah,
and it's like, you do that to like a support thing, and it's like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm never buying your brand ever like, or recommending
Yeah.
your brand, or like, especially when it's like them not wanting to learn the tool, they want it
Yep.
done for them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, we offer this tool for you. You're on the free plan, like, get out of here. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially the free plan people.
um,
Like everybody's got to start somewhere. I get it. Like, and you want to get the most out of all the tools you're using. I understand. I empathize there, but man, some people, man, they take you give an inch, take a mile. One thing
yeah.
I want to
Well,
ask you. Oh,
and
good.
then some though.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna be this way on the free plan, what is it like working you when there's actual money on the line?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you gonna be worse because it's actual
Always,
money?
always are.
Like,
They were always are.
and
Like
it's
they
like,
all of a sudden feel like they're the CEO of the company when they pay you. And I wish it wasn't like that. Like again, our goal on like in every interaction is to try to help the person as much as we can, and we swallow our pride a lot of times. We swallow, I think, very valid clapbacks,
yeah,
just from like a policy perspective. But like, we are also human beings. Maybe the one thing that AI gets to do is they get to take all these beatings and not feel anything. Like it doesn't affect like your dinner with your wife at the end of the day, like it does me sometimes after having a hard
right,
one.
yeah,
One thing I wanted to ask you, and I know we're coming up on time a little bit, but one of the things I wanted to ask you, you had just mentioned about, okay, if you see this interaction on Twitter, someone's snarky person, at best they're snarky, at worst they're like, really tearing someone down. You don't feel inclined to work with them anymore. One of my personal fears is in an effort to put myself out there and start to kind of, maintain some level of humility, but also like be proud and like kind of call out my accomplishments and capabilities. I will inevitably say something that will be interpreted as, or might actually just be snarky, and I probably already have. I definitely have, and that is actually probably that's probably the biggest fear of mine that prevents me from putting stuff out. Um, how do you navigate that? How do you reconcile that emotionally?
yeah. I mean, I think the write up a draft and delete, super super good. Um,
Yeah.
let that thing, let it sit for 10 minutes and come back and be like, I don't,
Mm.
that's and there's always that admitting that you messed up,
Yeah.
right? It's like if somebody calls you out on it, you're like, oh shoot, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, or
Yeah.
whatever. And I think a lot of it depends if that becomes your persona, right?
Yeah.
If you become known as the clapback, snarky, like everything's like I'm gonna poke fun at you,
Yeah.
right? Or like be jokey or say something that's you know that offends somebody. Like you have to live with that to if that's how you're gonna interact with the internet. But
Yep.
I am more of the, you know, let's grab coffee and hang out and talk through things and um, I don't know. There's no feel like the ego needs to die on the internet. Like
Yeah.
um,
But ego is the internet.
it's a
I wish it
brutal.
wasn't.
Yeah, I wish and you're posting sort of straight from the hip, but it's real, right? It's it's not a. I think it'd be much different vibes if you were showing if it was like a well polished really
Sure.
buttoned up thing where you're trying to make like you know trying to look good on the internet is much different
Sure.
than just being like, hey, here's what I think about this, and
You
that's
say buttoned
why.
up the one day I wore a button up.
Well, that's, I mean, yeah,
I'm
but
kidding.
But you know what I
I
mean
know
though,
you.
like
Yeah, I
the
do.
and like that's a thing you can be, right? You can be
Mm-hmm.
buttoned up and polished, and that's sort of the brand you're putting on the internet. But at like the end of the day, it's like when you get on a call with somebody, you want them to be like, "Oh, that guy I read on Twitter, yeah, he's the same in person."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That consistency is probably the thing that I chase more than anything, and I think you are the first person I've ever talked to that I said it out loud. I've never said it out loud myself, so I appreciate you giving that gift to me today.
yeah, no, it's he. I want to be whether you see me on Riverside or the Google Meet or in person when you come up to the Michigan Festival in August here. Um,
Gotta
the
get some
entire
hot dogs. That's
fairground.
that's the hot dog time, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. A Michigan is a hot dog with a meat sauce on top of it with
Oh,
mustard and
yeah,
onions.
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's like I want to be the you see me at a coffee shop or whatever or out and about, and it's like the same as I am on the
Yeah,
internet. Like
yeah.
that's like I don't know. It's the internet has been too good to me. So let's not try not to ruin that. So
Well, I know we're at time, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart, man. I'm so grateful that you're one, a part of our community, and two, this is the more important thing. I'm really glad that you're in my life. I'm tempted to stop the recording and say the rest of it, but I'll just keep going. But like the thing is like, it's very rare to meet people in this space that are so genuine, so forthcoming, and so consistently supportive. And you've been that to me, and you've been that to a lot of people. This is something that I think it's really interesting that you work at No, because like I feel like Jeremiah is very much like this. I think that's one of the reasons why he resonates with me, and I look up to him so much. And I think it's very similar set of reasons why I look up to you. So I appreciate you always being present for me and just being a positive light, dude.
yeah, trying my best. Well,
You're doing a great job.
yeah. Well, see you on the internet.
See you on the internet, man.